My name is Dawn Clark Miller Woodbury. The Clark is my mother's maiden name, and the Miller was my father's name, and Woodbury is my married name. I was born in Long Beach, California in 1932 at Seaside Hospital, which was several years later destroyed in an earthquake. My family happened to be in Long Beach, California, because my father was called to be first mate for Howard Hughes, who was the big movie producer, airline owner of his time. Well, I remember as a child my mother used to follow my father around wherever he happened to be on the boat, and I changed schools almost every year or so. I went to school in Florida and in Connecticut. We were in Connecticut when they had the biggest hurricane there. It was pretty scary. I can remember my father coming for me, and the trees were coming down all around, and we had to find several ways before we could get to our apartment. And when we first moved to Miami, the boat was stationed there, and Howard Hughes was not there, and he let my father bring us on board, and we stayed on board for about 2 weeks until we found an apartment, and that was pretty thrilling. It was a beautiful, beautiful yacht. Some of the things that I remember as a child were when we lived in California, my parents would take me for pony rides, and always, forever after, I wanted a horse. And finally, when I was in high school, my father bought me one, and that was one of the highlights of my life, I guess, other than meeting my husband when I went to the University of Maine. After we finished traveling around and my father left the yacht, we came back to Machiasport, Maine, because that is where both of my parents were from initially, and lived there while I was in high school, and then I went away to college, and I met my husband there my freshman year, and we were married at the end of our 4 years, and then he went in the Army, and we were in the Army for a couple of years. Then he went to dental school, and we were in Boston, Mass. For 4 years while he was in school. After my husband finished dental school, we moved to Blue Hill, Maine, where we stayed for 8 years, and we had 3 children, and we returned back to Orono, where we started out, and that is where he's practiced dentistry for 30-some years now, and we are retired.